And good morning, my friends, in this beautiful morning. Hector here from Chasing Reef once more. We are going to be doing the most awaited for 100-hour service to these beauties. And these are 2022 F300 XSB2s. And we are going to be doing the 100-hour service today. As many of you maybe already saw the video in the channel of the 20-hour service. This will be a continuation of the 20-hour service plus everything else. When I say everything else, that means impeller, water pump, the lower unit oil, spark plugs, fuel filters, water separators, fuel filter, oil filter, and all the lubes. Everything right here, my friends. I have both kits right there for both engines, which is starting over here to the left. The gear lube, the engine oil, the oil filter there, the water pump kit right below it. You have the fuel water separators, you have the fuel filters, and you have the spark plugs divided there for each engine. Then you have there the washers and O-rings that have to be replaced as well. It's a good habit getting to do that. Some of that stuff gets brittle, then you might have leak or get water going into your gear case. Anyway, this would be, like I said, the 100-hour service for these 2022 Yamaha's F300 XSB2s. And yeah, finally Chasing Reef is at 98 hours. I'm going to do them right now because my next trip is going to be pretty long. So that's going to take care of that. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to climb on the boat because a few water separators are on the inside. So we're going to go ahead and change both fuel water separators first. I'm going to start inside and they can go from there. So stay tuned, hit subscribe and like, hit that share button so all the guys can keep seeing these videos. I don't think there's many videos out there for this 100-hour service on these engines, maybe none, but we're going to try to bring you some information and help you guys out to do it yourselves, guys. Save some money. Okay, so I got them loosed up right there with the wrench. I'm gonna spin them off of here. You're gonna get some spill, but that's what the bucket here is for. Put that in there. And let's spin off the other one here. And we'll throw that one right in there with the other one. As you can see, right there, those are the fuel water separator filter heads. And we're gonna go ahead and spin the new ones on. I'll be right there. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and open the package for the first one here. Get in here and put it on. Got one on. Let's do the other one here. Some guys pre-lube the O-ring on the filter itself. What I do is I put a little bit of grease on the filter heads. That way every time I change them, there's a little bit of lube in there. So I can just swap out the filters and not have a problem there. So those are snug fit, hand tight. You want to get them wrist tight. You don't want that over tight in there, because the fuel pressure is gonna give you the final tension there when you tighten them. So that way you don't get no leak. But that's it. That's how you replace fuel water separator filters on these Yamaha newer boats. At least this one here, Gamefish 30 Sea Hunt. That's where they have those located at. So now we're gonna move down below, and we are going to start with the babies down below. Stay tuned. So we're going to show you here, guys, these engines have 3 latches. One being right here on the front side, which I'll pull that out already. Then you come down below. It has a latch here on the one side, and it has a latch here on the other side. And we're going to go ahead and pull these covers apart. Any of you guys that have a little bit of experience or got mechanical skills, mechanical hands, this will help out, you know, if you haven't done it before. That way it'll save you some money. I do have a friend that's a Yamaha tech. What he does is he'll come over and document the hours on the computer for Yamaha. So we're gonna go ahead here and pull this baby off. I'm gonna put it over here. And as you can see, we're going to be changing this fuel filter right here, right there, right behind there. We'll get that in a minute. We're going to be changing the oil filter right here, and we're going to take this cover off here in a second, and we're going to be replacing the spark plugs that are in there as well. The coils are direct charge, so you have to take those coils out of there for to be able to get to the spark plugs. So let's keep going here. Let me change hats because this sun is starting to act up. That boy acts up, you gotta get out of his way. No doubt about that. So this cover here just comes up like that. It just slides up. There you go. Take the cover off, a little protective cover.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
And you got 3 coils on one side, and you got the 3 coils on the other. We're gonna go ahead and that is a 10mm screw. We're gonna start by changing the spark plugs. I'm gonna do the spark plugs next, and then the fuel filter and oil filter. Work my way down. We have the 10mm socket, and we're going to pull these 6 bolts out. You can take those out with the power ratchet, but when you're going to put them back in, you want to do them by hand. That way you don't run the risk of snapping a bolt and then running into big complications, my friends. This is what we're going to do here. All 6 bolts are pulled. Put those right there. I'll start with the starboard side. And you don't matter that the cables are not pulling. We're going to go ahead and pull apart the oven. The same thing, you want to loosen these up by hand. And then pull them out. As you can see, these bad boys are burning nice and brown. That's a good color for our spark plugs. Right there. And what you want to do is always verify the part number on the spark plug you're pulling with the ones that came in, because in the past, it has happened, my friends, that you might get spark plugs that are the wrong part number. And then when you're doing your service, you might get stuck. Not go to the water the next weekend. Obviously, you can't go to the water this weekend because these 2 puppies will consume a lot of time. So this weekend is just for the engines. But yeah, you want to double check the part number on your spark plugs. Always, buddy. So we'll keep pulling the rest. So we got the other 2 out. Same color. Same color, that means those injectors on the cylinders are firing up nice. Really, really nice. Okay, as I was saying, I lost the camera there for a second. As I was saying, I'm an old school guy, and I like to gap my spark plugs before I put the new ones in, because I have seen them in the past where they came with different gaps. So I gapped these old ones, and I double check with Yamaha. They do go gapped at 40. So right there, that's what I use, 0.40. Try the gap out here, and that's what they are right there, 40 thousandths. So we're gonna go ahead and screw them on there. Let me line the camera here again. We're gonna go ahead and put the new ones in.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
What you want to do with the new spark plugs is you want to just brush them with this right here, which is the anti-seize from Permatex, just a little bit. That way, you know, it's aluminum heads, and you want to eliminate every possibility of something going wrong there next time you pull them out. So what I do is I just hit it with a little bit. Put another one. Start with the bottom one. Doesn't really matter, but I'm just gonna start at the bottom. And you want to put them in by hand. Make sure that the threads are nice and mated. You don't want to force anything in there. You do it by hand. You get a feel. When it starts threading in, just keep threading it. And when it gets snug, just pull your wrench out. Do the same with the other one. You want to do it nice and slow in there, so you don't want to smash your gap on that spark plug tip. Put them in a hole, get the feel for the thread with your fingers until it snugs up. Pull the wrench out. Keep doing the same thing with the other ones. You want to do it with a 3/8 ratchet, nothing big. You know, all this stuff is just basically wrist tight. Once you get the crush washer going, just half a turn there, pull your socket out. Same with the other one. Wrist tight, get the crush washer going, snug it, and you're good. Same with the other one. Get the crush washer going, snug it, and you do. So that is it for replacing the spark plugs. I'm going to go and do the other side now. I'm going to show you guys here. I'm going to get the coils in there nice and snug right there. You want to don't force anything. Just find that little spark plug tip, put it in, snug it up. Same with all the rest. Don't force anything. You don't want to force anything in these engines, my friends, because that just creates complications. And you don't want to do that. Same things for these bolts. We're going to hit them with the Permatex. Just a little tab there. Remember, always put everything by hand. Don't use power tools to pre-screw and screw in. You don't want to do that, buddy. That'll get you in trouble quick. You want to always hand fit everything before you snug it. You snug them up, move on, snug them up, move on, and snug this one up, but don't move on. now you're already there. You want to tighten from that last spot down. So remember, wrist tight. That's just a bushing, a threaded bushing inside that plastic valve cover. You don't want to do anything with power tools or use a lot of torque with your hands, because you will strip it. It's just brass on plastic. So you want to do wrist tight on that, snug it up, and you're good to go. That's already 3 spark plugs changed up. I'm going to move and do the other 3. It's the same thing. So I'm going to pause the video right here, and when I'm getting ready to do something else, move on, I will continue with the video, okay? So I hope this helped you guys out. Remember, these stuff, you can unscrew them with the power tool, but loosen them up by hand first. And when you're going to snug them up by hand, get the feel, wrist tight, and you snug them up. Half turn with your wrist. You don't have to use no torque on this. This is real fragile stuff. But it's made to last, but it's fragile. So yeah, you don't want to over torque anything, because you might snap or you might strip it. So I'm gonna pause the video right here, and when I'm getting ready to move, do something else, we'll keep with the video, okay? Hope you guys like it. Chasin Reef. So on this engine setup, my friends, there's a bracket protecting, like a cover bracket, metal, protecting the oil filter housing, the cup. So you want to replace, you want to unbolt 1, 2, 3 bolts, take this bracket off, and then continue with your fuel filter removal. Okay, my friends, so what I did is I took that housing off, changed the filters, the fuel filter. What you want to do is that connector right there, you want to take it apart, and the wire comes right under this bracket. You pull that wire off, take the bracket off, take these screw off, and the housing comes off. So that way you can remove the bowl, replace the cartridge, put it back in there, tighten everything back up, replace the connector, and you're done. So what I like to do is, with the old oil filter, I already replaced the fuel filters, the spark plugs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire the engine up for about 5 minutes, get the engine hot. I'm going to raise the crankcase all the way up with the engine off. After I turn it off, raise it up about a minute so all that oil can drop. Put it back down and drain my old oil. Replace the fuel filter, and then do the lower unit oil. And then what I leave for last is the water pump. The reason I do that is because since I haven't changed the water pump yet, I can fire up the engine with just a hose on the flush side for about 5 minutes, and I don't have to put the earmuffs in the bottom, just flush it and all that, since I'm going to replace the water pump anyway. It's going to have a new one. And when I put the new engine oil and new oil filter and do the lower end unit and the pump, what I do is I put the earmuffs on, fire it back up for about 2 minutes so all the new oil and the fuel and the oil filter can circulate, and it'll be ready for the water. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to prep this up to fire it up, and I'll hit you guys back up here in a second. All right, had the engine fired up for about 5 minutes. See the water right there hooked up to the where you do the right here, you do the flush port there. And what I'm going to do now is take these fairings off, take the fairings off right here at the bolts, and I'm going to drain the oil. Since it's hot, I'm going to raise the engine up, put it back down, and we're going to drain the oil. I'm going to do this first so the oil can find its way. You can leave it there for about a minute. Then when all this is said and done, what you want to do is hit the ports, the grease ports, the Zerks. You want to hit them with marine grease right here. On the front side, it has 2 more. Anywhere you see a grease port, grease Zerk, you want to hit it with grease. That way she's all greased up. Yep. So that's what we're gonna do here. Wait till the oil comes down. I'm gonna put the engine back down and start taking the fairings apart. So what I'm gonna do is take these bolts off right here and start at it. So guys, if you did not see the other video, I'm gonna show you here on how to drain the oil on these crankcases, on these motors. Take the fairing off. This plug right here, that's your drain plug, right there. This boot is made so the oil doesn't drip on your crankcase there, so it comes out towards the bucket. So I'm gonna take this plug off right here and drain the oil, and that's all there's to it. Take that fairing off of there. There's your crankcase where all the oil is. Drain the oil, put the plug back in with the new washer, and don't forget to change the oil filter. change your oil filter, put that plug in there with the new washer, snug everything up, put new oil in, crank the engine back up for about 2 minutes, get all the oil in there, and then we'll drain the crankcase, the lower unit oil, and start taking the lower unit down to replace the impeller. The last thing I do is the impeller. That way, if I put the boot back on, I'll just fire it up, and then that way it has good pressure, good water pressure in there. So stay tuned, man. We're gonna drain this oil, and we're gonna go from there. So my friends, I have put the new oil in, changed the oil filter with the new one, put the plug back in with its washer. Everything's good, no leaks. Obviously that you see there is Corrosion X. I always hit it with Corrosion X. That way all that stuff right there doesn't get that bad or that corroded worse than it already is. And before putting the cap on, I usually use Yamaha lube around the seal there, which is this one right here, Yamaha Shield. That is good stuff, man. You can use that in your harnesses and your wires, and it's good for that stuff. So I hit Corrosion X around the blocks and the big wires right there at the coils. I hit it with Yamaha Shield, ECM right there, the three main plugs. I hit it with Yamaha Shield, all the wirings. Hit it with Yamaha Shield. You gotta help this stuff, people. It's good to have fun and all that, but you gotta help these engines, you know. We run into salt water, you know. You gotta help it. You gotta help them out and lube that stuff up. Hit it with Corrosion X and Yamaha Shield, and you'll be all right. You don't want all that stuff corroding on you, and then you have to spend money try to get it back to work. So what I'm gonna do here is open up the water. Obviously I haven't changed the impeller yet. That is coming in a couple minutes, which you guys will be part of it. Fire the water up, and let's fire this engine up for a couple minutes. Hit the power right here. Hold on a second, I got to turn the house on. Power right there. And she's fired up with the new oil now. You can hear it burn like a kid. New spark plugs, no fuel filter, no oil filter, no oil. We'll let her there for a couple of minutes, and then we'll move down to the bottom section to do the lower end unit oil and the impeller, the water pump. We'll go from there. Everything sounds good. She's nice and smooth. I use 89 octane on this engine. I've always used 89 octanes on my engines. Never had a problem. Sometimes I use Rec 90. Sometimes I use regular. The boat gets used, so it doesn't sit. We're here in Florida, so 89 octane is perfect with ethanol if you're going to use the boat. It's not going to harm anything on the engine or O-rings or hoses. If you use the boat and you're going to consume that fuel, you'll be good. Obviously this is a 100-hour service. The boat's been with me for about a little over a year and a half now. No complaints. Everything works fine. you can hear, the engine sounds perfect. Since we're in Florida, it's hot down here, we use 20W40 Yamaha lube. Obviously at the upper states, the air is cooler up there, than they use 10W30, but down here we use 20W40 because of the heat. You want to keep that engine nice and lubed. So there you go, my friends. I'm going to pause this video right now, and we're going to move down below to drain the lower unit oil, put some new oil, and then remove the lower unit and get that impeller changed. So Chasin Reef right here for the channel. Stay tuned for the next episode here. Don't go anywhere. As you can see, my friend, here, this boat has been up to 58.7 max speed. That's what we had her up to already. And I'm gonna go ahead and reset the parameters here. So we hit options, reset trip, yes. Reset maximum speed, yes. And the odometer, we're not going to reset the odometer because I like to keep my total miles that this boat has gone already. And you can see there, he's been over 1,000 miles already. This boat, we use the boat. It's barely getting its 100 hours right now, but we use the boat. 1,371 miles ridden and counting. All right, my friends, we'll keep making this video here and keep you guys informed. Okay, here I have the engine up, and to remove the lower end unit, you're gonna remove these 3 bolts right here. There's gonna be one under here. They're all 14 millimeter, and then this bolt that grabs the anode, there's a plug right here. You have to take that plug off, remove that bolt, and then these 3. You want to leave one on this side and one on the other side. That way the unit will come down even. So I'm gonna start doing that right now and take this lower end unit off. Okay guys, I have pulled the lower end unit out. Look at the size of that shaft. Obviously there's not a lot of lube on there, which we're going to put marine lube, marine grease on there here in a little bit. So yep, there it is. We're going to be changing out the impeller here in a little bit. I'm going to leave you guys live recording while I do all this. That's what it looks like in there. There's the exhaust, the water port, the shaft port, and then the gear shift port. This is the water port right here. So we're going to be doing this right now here in a couple minutes, and I'm going to be setting the camera on the tripod. That way you guys can have a better look at this. This shaft here needs to be removed before you start taking the water pump cap off. There's a little set screw here that you're going to take off. It has pipe dope on it, like thread lube, not sealing, thread lube, so it doesn't seize up. Once you take it off, you can remove the shaft. We're going to put it to the side right there. And we're going to go ahead and start on the removal of the housing here and everything else. You're gonna have O-rings, housing O-ring, water pump O-ring, in and outer. You're gonna have a set key, the dowel pins that you want to change. Actually, they're over there. I have to remove them. One's here and one's here. And you're gonna have new bolts for the big cap. I guess for the smaller cap, I have to see it here. I think they're in here. Nope, this is just a cup. Guess those get reused. So here's that small screw that goes on that shaft right there. We're gonna leave it in here the way it doesn't get lost. Here are the plates and the gaskets. And we're gonna start taking this bad boy apart. Bolts are 12mm. And remember, when you take this off, you want to double check the way the impeller's turning, because you want to put it on the same way. You want that impeller the same way in there that it came off. You don't want it to be spinning backwards. On. Let's lift this housing. And be careful, you don't want to snap it. Come up on all four corners. Real gentle. I want to lift it up a little bit, that way we can get a glimpse at how's the impeller running. And she is running actually clockwise. If you're looking from the front side of the engine towards the impeller in the back, like towards the prop, she's running clockwise. If you look at it from the back, she's still running clockwise. Okay? So don't get confused wherever you're sitting. If you're sitting from here, she's running clockwise. If you're sitting in the back doing this, that I doubt it because it's a little harder to get to, it's still running clockwise. So the pump runs clockwise. You can see right there, she runs clockwise. And we're gonna clean this housing, the O-ring. It's all brittle, people. That's why you have to do this at 100 hours, because look, 100 hours, this O-ring is already all brittled up. You want to keep that O-ring here. Well, these are not easy to match up, but you just remember these fins on the new cup. It's going to go on the water outlet right there. All right? So you want to keep it right there. Same spot. You're going to hit it from the inside. This gets removed anyway. It gets replaced with a new one. So it doesn't matter if you ruin it. And Yamaha puts a little bit of silicone on this just to keep the O-rings in, I guess. There it is. There's a silicone ultra gray. I do the same. You want to keep this cup in there not moving. Keep it from moving in there when you put it in. So you want to clean the old silicone off. So guys, I mean, it's not a big science. You guys can do it. You just have a little, you know, understanding how it works. Then go from there. I'm going to start with this one here in the housing, but we're going to replace these two first. I'm going to prep the plate and the gaskets and all that. That way we can keep moving. Don't move this, guys. This is a gear selector. You know, it's kind of hard. Just keep away from it. All you're going to do before you put it back in is lube it. Hit it with marine grease. Hit this O-ring right here with marine grease, which is the water, before putting it up. But don't move this at all, because that's your gear selector. You don't want to mess with that. These bolts here we're going to keep because they get reused. Only the one on the impeller housing Yamaha replaces. Alright. Okay, my friends, now that I have everything on the housing put up, the O-rings, now these things are basic, you know, put cup back in, put the O-ring back in. What you want to do is you want to lubricate inside where the impeller is going to turn. That way it'll help you put it in, and it'll help you get that impeller turning in there for installation. So we're going to put a little bit of marine grease inside the housing. She's nice and lubed when you have to like screw it in. It's like a screw. She's going in for the first time. Doing that right there, got that loop. There we go. Get that going in there. And there she goes. Counterclockwise, okay? Counterclockwise. So when you turn it in, you put the housing clockwise, and then while pressing down, turn it counterclockwise. That way the impeller turns clockwise, your housing goes counterclockwise, and it goes right in. You just want to double check. Just turn the shaft clockwise, and you'll see that the impeller's turning nice and loose in there. You want to put the new screws in. You want to use anti-seize on them. I'll use anti-seize on these, and put them right in there. This is what they call backyard mechanics, my friends. Truly backyard mechanics. I got my marine background, but we are in my backyard. It's good to keep sense of humor once in a while, alright? So we're going to tighten this housing up. Remember, wrist tight. Get that snugged up. And there we go. Good. The video is just for this one. Everything else is the same. Alright, friends. We're going to put the shaft back up with the little screw. And we're going to put some silicone on it. Look at that. it off. It was binding a little bit because not being lubed up. Just turn the shaft, everything's good. Pump's turning in there counterclockwise the way it should. We're going to lube this shaft up right here, and we're going to go and drop it in. We have the unit right here. We're going to slide it up there in there and get everything aligned up. So you want to kind of, when going in, align the gear shifter in there, align the shaft, align the water sleeve, and aligned everything up. We're going to put one screw on each side. It shoots up. Always happens. Now this one is in. I'm going to put some screws in there. It's tough for one person, you know, but once you get in your groove, you can do it. The unit's not that heavy, it's probably around 45 pounds, or less, around 40. But I have to take the tube off. Leave that one in, and take the other two. This one. Okay, my friends, so these engines have water inlet here, has a screw, you unscrew that. Another water inlet here has a screw, you screw that, and it exposes your vent for the lower unit oil and your drainage hole. So you pull the plug there, vent there, have it drain all the way. I showed this in my 20-hour service, but I'll show it here again. That way you guys, people that didn't see the other videos, can see it on this one. So I hope this video did a lot for you guys, you know, helped you out, give you at least an idea on how to do service on your own, and you know, save you some money. So I'm gonna let that drain right there in a little bit. I'm gonna refill it, lower the engine down, fire up the water hose, and then we'll check out that the impeller and everything's working correct before we take the boat out into the water. You want to make sure everything works after you do the service, okay? All right. So my friends, here we are to the end of our video here. I'm going to turn the water on now. There's I replaced the oil on my lower end unit. I'm going to turn on the water now, fire the engine up, and then we'll give it a couple of seconds, and then we're going to put it in gear, forward and reverse, to make sure everything's working. Everything's flowing nice. Water is warm up in the heads, like it should. Gear in and out of gear. Forward, reverse, and back to forward. Everything looks good. So this is your friend Chasing Reef here. Hector for the channel. Subscribe, like, hit that share button, hit that like button. Send it to your friends. We're gonna be in the water here in a couple weeks, testing everything out. I put new Solus props in there as well. We're gonna be testing that as well. And I hope this video helped everybody. And you can save some money and do it yourselves. There's nothing to it. You just gotta have a little mechanical hands, and it helps you out. So just want to let you guys know. Again, shout out to Ultimate Marine there, guys. Just want to let you guys know I started this working on the engine, just the one engine, around 9:30 in the morning today, and I got done around 2:36. So a little over 5 hours, a couple minutes, and I mean I did non-stop, so just water breaks and that stuff like that. So yeah, a little over 5 hours. It's doable, guys. It's doable. Hope it helps you out, and we'll keep moving forward, man. F300 V6 4.2 2022, the new Yamahas, 100-hour service. I hope this helps everybody out. Chasing Reef out, buddy.